Hey, we're going to be learning about how to say to think, but we're going to be using a form you might not know because it's not the most commonly taught way, but it's definitely very commonly used. But in order to say to think, we first need to say to think with a more basic form, and that requires making a basic quoting form. A basic quoting form is going to use the plain form. I'm going to do a really quick review of the plain form that you can use to make quotes in Korean, because we need this first before we can say I think using the form huda. So if you have an action verb stem, if it ends with a consonant, you're going to attach 는다, and if it ends with a vowel, you're going to attach 니은다. There is one exception for this. If it ends with the letter 릴, you remove it, and then you attach 니은다. Like 하다 is ha, ends in a vowel, so you attach 한다. 먹다, to eat, you get 먹는다. And 살다, to live, 산다. Or if you have a descriptive verb stem, you're actually already done. 춥다, to be cold, it is just 춥다. But we're not just doing the plain form when you're making a quote. But what you do with the plain form is you're actually going to attach 고 after 다. So if we have an action verb like 하다 becomes 한다, 고. If we have a descriptive verb like 춥다, you get 춥다, 고. So we're attaching 고 to the end, and that makes it a plain quoting form, not just the plain form. There is an exception, 이다 to be. Even though it's a descriptive verb, it doesn't just become 이다고, it becomes actually 이다고 after a consonant or 나고 after a vowel. And the same goes for the verb 아니다, to not be, which becomes 아니라고. Past tense of the plain quoting form is also very simple. You conjugate a verb into the past tense as normal. And that'll always end with this. Like 하다, for example, is 했어요, right? All you do is you attach 다 after this, and then 고. So 했어요, you just remove everything after this, and then you attach 다, 고. So you have 했다고. That's the past tense plain quoting form. When you're using the future tense, you can either use the 겠다 ending, but once you get to here, all you have to do is attach 다고. 하다 becomes 하겠다고, and you're done. Or, more commonly, you'll actually be using the 것이다 ending, right? This is the ending where you go like 할 거예요. So to make a plain quote using this form, it's actually already done. All you have to do is use 것이다 instead of 이다, since we remember 이다 becomes 이라고, so you get that. Or more commonly, it's not 것, it's actually 거, which means you attach 이다 to this, which just becomes 라고. 거라고, and you're done. So if we have 하다, 할 거라고, that's it. Let's first talk about 생각하다, because we have to talk about this in order to talk about 보다, or else you'll think it's the same thing, because 보다 is very different. You can take any plain quoting form, and then you attach the verb 생각하다, which means to think. But it doesn't just mean to think in general. This one is more like consider, because this verb is used for expressing your thoughts and your opinions. Like, what I think is, and it's your thoughts and opinions from internal factors. Internal just means these thoughts come from yourself. You know, despite the external evidence, internally, what I think is this. And that's a little bit different because there's another form that's also commonly used to say you think, and that is the 같다 form. I've done other lessons about these, so I won't do a review about this one. This one's used with adjectives though. So you'll take any verb, change it into an adjective in any tense, and then 것 or 거 같다, which means to think. And this one is different because this is for external factors. So it's not your own opinion necessarily. It's more like it seems to be. Like, it looks like that. I think it is because it appears to be. So that's the main difference between these two. And this lesson is not about the difference between these two, but I wanted to kind of give you that really quickly as an introduction. Like things that seem a certain way. Like I feel that, I can sense that because of this. Whereas this one's more like the thought came from inside of my brain. Let's do a few quick examples using 생각하다. 괜찮다 is to be okay. 괜찮을 거라고. Future tense. It will be okay. 생각하지 않아요. I do not think it will be okay. 괜찮을 거라고 생각하지 않아요. I do not think that it'll be okay. So I don't think that it will be okay. 철수, our friend 철수. 철수가 미국에서 산다고 생각해요. I think that 철수 lives, 산다고, from 살다, lives in America. So my opinion is that 철수 lives in America. I think 철수 lives in America. 철수가 미국에서 산다고 생각해요. 피자, the pizza. 피자가 맛있다. Pizza tastes good, tastes delicious. 맛있다고 생각했어요. So I 했어요, past tense. I thought that the pizza tasted good. Notice that it's not 맛있었다고 생각했어요. It's not I thought that it had tasted good. You don't need to do double past tense in Korean like that, like we do in English. Just the last verb needs to be in the tense that you want. 피자가 맛있다고 생각했어요. So I thought, what did I think? The pizza tastes delicious. 저는, for me, as for me, 아니라고 생각해요. So for me, I think, 생각해요. 아니라고, which is 아니다, to not be. So I think it is not. For me, I don't think it is. 저는 아니라고 생각해요. So I think it's not. You think it is. 저는 아니라고 생각해요. I think it's not. You can use words like I think so, like I think that, or how do you think? So in this case, 그렇게 means so, means like that. 저도, so me too. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. So I think so too. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. You can use the word 그렇게 for so. You can also use 이렇게 for like this is what I think. You can also use 어떻게, meaning how. 어떻게 생각해요? What do you think? We would say, what do you think? But in Korean, they say, how do you think? Or 무슨. 무슨 is an adjective that means what. 무슨 생각해요? It's more like, what are you thinking of? 지금 무슨 생각해요? While you're in Korean class, were you thinking about another language? So disgusting. I can't believe you. So let's go on to our main form then. 보다. 보다 literally means to see or to look. And it's an action verb. It has a lot of uses. But if you use it after a plain quote, it means to think. Literally, it means that you see something a certain way. You're saying, the way I see it is... So then, when would you use huda instead of 생각하다 to say, I think? This is not just used when you are saying your opinions from internal factors. You're not just expressing your personal thoughts and opinions. This one is used when you judge or evaluate something. Literally, when you see it. This is the form you're going to be using when you make a call. Not when you're making a phone call, but if you make a call as in a judgment. And this form is not used for expressing your subjective thoughts. Meaning, if this is a pure opinion, you do not use this form. So don't use this to say like, I personally think this is what you judge. You can translate huda as kind of like the way I see it, or I judge this to be. But for a natural translation, I think works fine. If you want an even simpler comparison of this form with 생각하다, this form sounds more direct. 생각하다 is really just like your opinion. Like, personally, I feel, I think, like that. This one is more direct. Like, you know what? The way I see it is this. You're not just saying it's my opinion, but it's like, that is my actual judgment, and I'm probably right, is what it means. Let's do a few example sentences. 저는, I, 이게, which is 이것이. So this, 이것이, 이게, 좋은 기회, a good 기회, good opportunity, 가 되다, to be, it will be, 될 거라고, future tense 되다. So it will be a good opportunity, 봐요. I see that this will be a good opportunity, is what you're literally saying, but it's more like, I think that this will be a good opportunity, but it's also the nuance of saying, like, I am judging, I'm making a call that, yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity. So I see it that way. 저는 이게 좋은 기회가 될 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is that this is going to be a good opportunity. 이것보다. So more than this. 더, more. By default, though, if you have 보다, it's going to be 더 if there's nothing else here. But you can also add it for more emphasis. So more than this. 나은 comes from the verb 낫다. To be preferable, which is like to be better. Like I would rather have that. I'd prefer it. 나은 is just the adjective form. 나은 방법. A better way, a better method than this. 찾다, to find. 찾아야 하다. We have to find a better method than this. 한다고 봐요. So the way I see it is we have to find a better method than this. 이것보다 더 나은 방법을 찾아야 한다고 봐요. I think we have to find a better way than this. 이것보다 더 나은 방법을 찾아야 한다고 봐요. 저만, only me. 이렇게 생각하는 건. So 이렇게, like this. 생각하다. So to think like this. 생각하는 것은 아닐 거라고 봐요. 아니다, to not be. So it will not be. Future tense. 아닐 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is, I'm not going to be the only one, it's not only me, who thinks like this. 저만 이렇게 생각하는 건 아닐 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is, I'm not going to be the only one who thinks like this. 저만 이렇게 생각하는 건 아닐 거라고 봐요. 우리가, so we, us, 정말, really, 결승전. 결승전 is the, like the finals of a competition. 결승전까지, up to the finals. 가다, to go. 갈 거라고 보세요? So this case, it's a question. 보세요? Honorific. Do you see it as we will go up to the finals? Really? 우리가 정말 결승전까지 갈 거라고 보세요? So do you really think we'll make it to the finals? 우리가 정말 결승전까지 갈 거라고 보세요? 저는 I 확실하게 하다. To do something clearly, to do something definitively. 확실하게 하는 게, so 하는 것이 낫다, again, to be preferable, to be better. 낫다고 봤어요. So 봤어요, past tense. I thought it would be better to just make sure, to just do it right, to do it the correct way, to make sure we got it done. 저는 확실하게 하는 게 낫다고 봤어요. So I thought it would be better just to make sure we did it right. 저는 확실하게 하는 게 낫다고 봤어요. 저는 I, 이 조건, so these conditions, 다, all of these conditions, 갖추다, to meet conditions. So in this case, past tense, 갖춘, met, 사람, a person who met all of these conditions, 없을 거라고, there will not be, 보는데요. So the way I see it is there will not be a person who met all of these conditions. 저는 이 조건을 다 갖춘 사람이 없을 거라고 보는데요. So the way I see it is there won't be anyone who meets all of these conditions. And that is everything you need to know about huda, meaning to think. Thank you for coming to the live stream, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!